These two types of earning are the most lawful earnings on earth.
Doctor, before I take this break, there's another problem here. For those of us who go to buy bread in the morning for breakfast, the price of bread is increasing by the day. When it was $5, the loaf was sizable. And then they said they would increase the loaf, you know, and increase the price. The price was increased, the loaf was increased. A week, 2, 3 after, the loaf was reduced to another $5, and then the price remains the same. And every time they want to increase price, that's how they do it. Don't you think that's also something worrisome?
It's deceptive.
You go to the shop, you buy bread, you're not happy. You are in a transaction.
You
have no choice, but you have to buy, but you are not happy with the transaction.
There's something wrong. There's something very serious wrong that we need to address. I think the system a bit relaxes sometimes with some other people. Exactly, I've had this complaint on a number of instances.
Bread.
The moment they increase price, they will increase the loaf. But just follow them. 1 day, 2, 3 days, it will start to reduce. And 1 week, 2 weeks, it becomes worse. And the price stay where it used to be, where it was. When the new price, in fact, will continue. And it seems they are not being checked properly. And the important, sometimes people do.
And they call each other. Immediately, one changes here. You go to, Latrikunda, the same thing happens.
They are more organized than society. Societies would have been more equally organized. That the way they gang up together against people. Societies have had their mechanism on the ground. And this was the reason why the institution of Hisbah became a very important social, political, and cultural institution in Islam as a way of life. The people who do Hisbah are the people who go around. In fact, anybody can do. You can have consumer protection organization. People can go to the market and see what's happening. They organize themselves well. And they make sure that anything of this thing that happens, they raise the alarm bell to the responsible authorities. They can make the responsible authorities act. Sometimes the irresponsible authorities may not be acting because they don't know. And why they don't know? Probably because they are not checking them properly. Or maybe even they check, sometimes the people that they check are being corrupted, who knows? And that is why the people who are doing Hisbah are going around to check what is happening and how far what people are doing is in line with the people's interests. Whether what people are doing to each other is, or the way people relate to each other is good, is not good, is important.
It's very important.
It's very important. That was why Hisbah, the institution of Hisbah was instituted, based on the Al-Quran al-Karim ayah, which says, which orders, al-amr bil-ma'ruf, wa-nahi anil munkar, that you order for the good, and then forbid the bad thing. And that was why that social institution was instituted. But it is not happening. It is very important that people, and I think sometimes they are caught. Anytime that the local authorities go out to check, they will catch them. But they can't change.
They catch them in the evening. You see them do the same thing.
Doing the same thing. So I think there is something wrong with society, which society should address. And again, I said it before in one of these programs that if you go to other West African countries, the way that they are torturing our people in today, particularly when it comes to basic commodities like bread and others, you don't see it elsewhere. And this is the most peaceful country in this sub-region. If you go to Senegal, to Mali, I remember there was time we went to Bamako. If you see the loaf of bread, it's big. Big. Man, it's big. So why are they doing this in our country? And nobody is able to
detect and do anything about it.
I think something is...
It's too exploitative, actually.
So I think the way that like I've said before, society should organize, we should organize ourselves better so that we make sure that, appropriate action is taken. But like you are saying, it's happening. Sometimes you go and buy, not because you want it, but you don't have a choice.
Okay, there viewers, as you know, this is a phone-in program where you can call and ask questions. Now what we do is we will take our first break, inshallah. When we come back, we'll open the lines for you to call and ask your questions, inshallah.
ربك وربك الأكرم الذي علم بالقلم علم الإنسان ما لم يعلم كلا إن الإنسان ليطغى أن رآه استغنى إن إلى ربك الرجعى أرأيت الذي ينهى عبدا إذا صلى أرأيت إن كان على الهدى أو أمر بالتقوى أرأيت إن كذب وتولى ألم يعلم بأن الله يرى كلا لئن لم ينته لنسفعا.
الحمد لله رب العالمين والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين. Welcome again, dear viewers, and the only number you can call to ask questions pertaining to what we're discussing today is 00220 for those of you outside the country, 00220-437-3910, 00220-437-3910, and for those of you inside the country, you can call 437-5905, 437-5905. Doctor?
I think maybe it is also important for Gambians to change their attitude, particularly when it comes to basic commodities. Because what I saw in India is that almost in every household, people make their own bread at home. Every household.
That's a good idea.
It's a very, very good idea. They have their own local way of making fine bread at home.
Yeah.
Every household almost have a way of making it. And every corner you go, there's somebody who's making bread. So it becomes abundantly available that you cannot cheat the system. And I think because but you know, for us, we always like to have it the easiest way on the silver plate. Sometimes having on the silver plate can cost you dearly.
Yeah.
And so we need that technology. I don't know what we need to do. Maybe it's a program need to be instituted whereby people are sensitized.
Even taught how to cook.
Yes,
yeah.
the consumer people, or I don't know, the NANA, any other responsible agency. But it's high time for Gambians to be sensitized, and even sometimes trained on how to avoid these difficulties, particularly when the business people came up together against individual Gambians. You have some organizations, some institutions where, like, if you go to Candlelight Bakery, it's still $5.
Yeah.
But the bakery is not available
everywhere. Exactly.
So there are people who are far away from where you can go and get it $5. And those of us who can make it there, you find them standing in long queues before they take care of themselves. So I think maybe in addition to this particular relief program, it is also important that people are sensitized on how to
that's in fact a very, very good idea. Secondly, Doctor, I also think, as it is done in some countries, you know, the indigenization of the food sector, the national food sector. You know, if you go to some countries where people's means of eating, the farms, the shops, the markets are all manned by nationals. You know, that way you'll have decent foods, you have good food, and you have, you know, food available all the time at a relatively cheaper price. I think that's also important.
That is another important strategy. Also, to make sure that the business sector, particularly business sector, is not dominated by one ethnic group.
Especially where the food is.
Yes. And so that is why I'm saying that we have to go back to the drawing table. This is not only a business of the state. The whole of society should be concerned, involved. And the fact that some areas are dominated by a particular ethnic group also makes it very difficult for the poor individual to have any say.
Definitely.
This one will come from nowhere, implemented quickly.
Yeah.
And it's as fast as
you cannot imagine,
Yes, you cannot imagine. So these strategies, I think, need to be addressed so that we'll stop blaming each other, or sometimes blaming people that we're not supposed to blame.
Solely unfortunate.
But for Muslims, they must understand that all these things that they're doing are prohibited by Islam.
Okay.
Make profit, but let it be reasonable.
Okay.
If profit is not reasonable, if it's excessive, it's devoid of barakah.
Okay. We take our first call. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah. Khairat wrong. Khairat wrong.
Okay, alga ni mem foten.
Ha.
Jor ndel ngama ndel phone le nyin sabu.
Okay.
Because even wafiro phone. Isaje mo wafiro la so ko ay bitiki flata. So bitiki do nya bo kala so ala storate. bitigi do tar la wafiro lo même